You know something? There's one thing that I have not done as a video just yet, and I'm surprised I haven't done it earlier. But, since might as well kill some time and have another week's worth of content, this is how I acquired this equipment and built these. So, stay tuned for a short slideshow, then I'll be back to talking about the stuff right here.
So the first step was getting wood to make a frame and decking for the car. The frame came together pretty quickly. It involved 4 pieces of redwood bar, which was 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. Then a piece of 2 by 4 going in the middle that was planed down to the correct height. Next, the planks were milled from a piece of 2 by 6, so they were 1.5 inches wide, a little bit less after they dried for a little, and 14 inches wide. I acquired the Locomotive. This is what it looked like when I first got it. With the Locomotive, I acquired 2 car bodies, one unfinished and one very old wood gondola that was incomplete. And with the gondola came a pair of trucks. Some castings were involved in this purchase as well, and there's the body of the car, which I eventually sold to my friend. But soon enough, went down to SCLS with my new purchase, and rode around on a flat car. Next, I attached the flat car to the trucks, or the other way around, and had to adjust them a second time because the distance didn't look quite right. I made some frames and had a seat made from a plank of 1 by 10. As you know, where we're going we don't need rails. I made the bench of the car intentionally shorter than the entire 5 feet, so a propane tank or the feet of the locomotive operator can be on a small platform in the front. I did some further testing at SCLS, pulling around one of the riding cars, so we could be ready for the Orange County meet in the spring of 2023, which was coming up at this time. Richard, myself, and another friend of ours went to the Orange County meet, and the Locomotive pulled the 3 of us on the riding car without issue. As with any railroading project, you are never satisfied, so I decided to take apart the car and make it more standard design, as well as a bit stronger. So I decided to take the car apart and replace the main middle frame beam with a solid piece of 2 by 6 redwood. I bought a 10-foot piece so I could use the other 5 feet for a second riding car. At this time I changed the placement of the trucks so it looks better. A second riding car came very quickly based on the dimensions of the first one. Frame built. Also got couplers at this time, making my own rudimentary coupler pockets, and adding chains. Soon the decking was built, or cut, chains and couplers added. Then I made some more frames the same height as the original car. This was originally 14 inches, but find out what happened later. And there you have it, one basic train, but I was missing the trucks in these photos for the second car. The next big job was repainting the Locomotive. I stripped the paint off the engine, which took a lot of elbow grease. I wasn't able to get all of it off, though. Most of the top of the engine was painted red, and the frames were painted black with safety stripes made from aluminum tape. Next step was painting the flat cars in accompanying colors. This was barn red Minwax opaque stain that I used on the redwood. Also, I got the second pair of trucks. Anyway, so I had to take the cars apart and paint the individual frames and bodies of the cars. This took a little bit of effort, but it looked great, frankly. At this time, I also shortened the height of the bench from 14 inches from the deck to 10 inches from the flat car deck. Then I lowered the height of the car by removing the bolsters, but replacing them, and routing out a pocket for the coupler.
Let's take a closer look at this, how it stands today. This is a Cannonball Super Mac now. Originally Little Mac. The difference is that the Little Mac had a single powered axle, while this Super Mac has been upgraded since it used to be Little Mac. Now it's a Super Mac and it has 2 powered axles. Both of them are powered, which really helps the pulling capacity. I had to replace the electronic system in here twice, and mostly my fault, I'll admit that. But it works very well now. It has a good control system inside of it. I'm not sure who makes it, but I did find them on Amazon and eBay. Actually, I got it off of eBay specifically, but it's on both. One end has a headlight here, and the safety stripes are actually aluminum tape, not painted. A few things that I did not repaint were the top radiators for the Locomotive. No, firewalls, not radiators. I think these are firewalls. During the repainting, I wasn't able to get a few things off of here, such as T&D Railroad 86. There's a few things I want to keep for its heritage, essentially. And if you're wondering about T&D, that was the owner, T, and his wife, D, being their first initials. And 86, built in 1986. I hope to get this going a number of different places in the future, but we'll see what happens. With that, let's go on to the flat cars. One thing that you'll note different from the videos, and anything else that I've done with these, is that this car has no trucks currently. I put them on the gondola, which I'll show you shortly. This car, as well as this one, were built in 2 months. So these are 100% wood cars. The dimensions is a scale 40 feet long, and it's a little bit wider than the prototype which I was going for. It's about a 1/2 inch wider. Wait, 1 inch wider. But it just makes for a bit of a more comfortable ride, and these do fit with 1 seat down in the back of a sedan. The benches and everything else that goes on top of this are back over there, which I will get in a second. But I'll probably be basing more of my cars not off of this design, but more of the scale accurate design that this car has, which we will take a look at right now. This car right here, it's a 36-foot basis car. The other ones were 40 foot, so this is a little bit shorter. So a few things that I have done to it is replace the ends since they were rotten wood. Boy, that was a process. Also, I had to adjust the truss rods so that these actually fit. I think it could be run, it's just not advisable to run it for very long. Just do not put this at the front or in the middle of a train, you will regret it. And the trucks that are currently on here I had on my other riding car, and I hope to get another pair of trucks for that, as well as some couplers here, so I could run it potentially, but it's just a nice display piece, and I think I'll use it as a tool car until I get a box car. This little box here is what I use to haul some supplies in, and this would just simply go on top of the flat car and would stay in place using a few wooden dowels. But I plan on replacing this either with a caboose or hopefully a box car in the future. But in the meantime, this right here is my version of a Pacific Electric bobber caboose. Still needs a lot of work, but it's getting there. He started building this week. But so far I have a floor, the box, and a roof that's removable. But there's a bit too much stuff in here, so that's why I'd probably still need a box car or a larger caboose instead of this one. Actually, I'd prefer the caboose to be a conductor's car that someone can ride in. One last thing I'm going to do for you guys is to demonstrate how this all comes together. I don't think I've showed that well enough before, but I'll show you this time around. First, you have your frames. I made this bench originally 14 inches tall, realizing that was too tall, so now it is 10 inches. Now there's a front and back to this, but I'm hoping to make it double-ended at some point. One thing I do need to do is just add a hook to the other one, and then we'll have two ends. Reason why it's collapsible is so it can fit in a vehicle. But sometimes the bells don't want to go in. So, until next time, this is Nate's Vintage Trains. Keep it old school, Jesus loves you, and God bless you all.